Hello everyone, welcome to our CGTN roundtable ongoing right here in Beijing at the Financial Street Forum. And today we have two very distinguished guests from some of the very leading international financial centers. They are Hubertus Weth, the Managing Director of Frankfurt Main Finance. Welcome. And Mourad Fethella, Head of Strategy and International Partnerships at Casablanca Finance City Authority. Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, have you guys attended the Financial Street Forum?
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about it, the event these days?
It's been very impressive. The last forum which I attended in Beijing was before the pandemic. And it's been a huge development. And what I particularly like, it's also like a festivity. You know, you see the stalls in the street on the one hand side, so people are really included. And on the other hand side, you have a super senior input, like from your vice premier, which just returned from negotiations. So it's been extremely insightful with lots of super senior people, and at the same time, it feels a little bit like a big party.
Yes, because I heard that you guys wanted to have a chat at the forum, but didn't get a chance, right? So how do you guys see like such platforms like this can help strengthen dialogue and for you guys to talk to each other?
Absolutely. Well, first, let me thank the organizers for such a great event. It is a good opportunity to feel the pulse of international finance and to meet experts. Of course, we are talking about cutting-edge topics such as fintech, sustainable innovation, cross-border investments, project finance, etc. But what is really important, and I feel it here, is to get the best practices, the insights from this world-renowned experts, and also to meet, to have the opportunity to extend the network, to make new connections, to meet old friends and partners.
Yes.
And all this is very positive.
Yeah.
So the schedule has been very tight. That's why we saw each other from afar.
Yeah, finally meet each other.
And we were pulled apart very soon.
We're looking forward to you guys' conversation. Like you can chat freely here now. And as Beijing is now playing an increasingly important role as a financial center, so how do you guys see it, Beijing's role? How can better boost the cooperation between China and other financial cities?
Well, finance always follows in the footsteps of manufacturing, of industry. With China being ever more prominent and ever more important on the trading and manufacturing side, obviously financing is gaining its stature. And if you look at the leading financial centers around the globe, there you find Beijing, you find Shanghai, you find Shenzhen, and you do find Hong Kong amongst them. So China already has a very, very, very strong position. Frankfurt, on the other hand, the leading financial center of the European Union, hence is a natural partner for Chinese financial centers, and first and foremost of Beijing. So we have been cooperating, we have been in dialogue on various aspects for a very long time. And one of the things is, when you say global stage, last year, Beijing had the CIBOS, which is the biggest fair for international payment, for technology, payment technology, here in Beijing, which we also attended. This year, we had it in Frankfurt. So last year was a big delegation from Germany here in Beijing. This year was a big delegation from Beijing and Shanghai in Germany. Yes. So there's lots of exchange, there's a lot of things to do and talk about, because we are two big trading nations with a substantial economic exchange.
Yes, you can see a lot of exchanges going on. And also, meanwhile, the Casablanca is also being an increasingly important international financial hub, connecting like Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. So how do you see Casablanca, its role as an international financial hub? How do you position it in the changing global financial landscape?
Absolutely. Well, you are right. Indeed, one of our positioning is to be able to act as a gateway, as a kind of super connector between Africa and the rest of the world. International investors are looking for safe places, and Morocco has some strong assets. Political stability, macroeconomic development. It's one of the only very few investment-grade countries in Africa. There is a rapid demographic upside, business opportunities all across the board, across sectors. So what we are trying to do in Casablanca Finance City is to create these bridges, bringing and scaling up and allocating smartly capital to the needs of the African opportunities, but also more importantly, bring the talent, the human talent, and also the technology. These three factors are so instrumental in order to drive the growth potential in Africa. So more particularly in Casablanca Finance City, we designed and crafted a value proposition to help international investors have a safe landing into Africa. This is, for instance, business facilitation, getting visas, work permits for employees, company setup, offering tax incentives, but also creating the strong network effect. We have a community of over 250 international companies. These are including financial institutions, multinational companies headquarters, professional services providers, holding companies. We also, by the way, are very proud because we have some leading Chinese companies as part of this ecosystem. Just to name a few, we have a Bank of China, we have Huawei, Tech Giant, we have Lenovo. And all this community is sharing one common DNA, which is doing business in Africa from Casablanca. And we start to feel that there is a collective intelligence that is shaping. They are exchanging best practices, know-how on the field, and sometimes they are teaming up together to address business opportunities. And we find this to be really synergy-creating opportunities.
Yes, China has been very active in cooperating with all these emerging economies of these years. And also in Frankfurt has long known been for a leader in green finance, for especially like sustainability, setting global sustainability standards too. So what efforts would you say that you are most excited about in this regard?
Well, there are lots of actions to be excited about, but let me probably start with testifying what Murat was just saying. We have a regular exchange between Casablanca and Frankfurt, and we also see Casablanca to be a really first-class springboard into huge parts of northern and western Africa. So that is very fabulous to see. On the other hand side, Frankfurt is a springboard to the European Union. And when you mentioned sustainable finance, there are actually three things which I'd like to mention to you. Number one is the EU taxonomy. That is something which I've been asked many times here, where we had a discussion yesterday on the panel about it. Actually, China is very close towards EU taxonomy, but there is not yet a unified taxonomy. And I always like to explain it with, it's a kind of a common language. A taxonomy is a mutual understanding that enables you to speak the same language.
Yes.
So when you talk about green bonds, when you talk about green finance, and you have an underlying taxonomy, you clearly know what you're talking about, and you don't have to go into too much detail. So that's number one. There is another aspect about a common language in green finance, and that's sustainability reporting. And we've been in Frankfurt fortunate enough to attract what is called the ISSB. It stands for International Sustainable Standards Board. It's a sister organization of IFRS, the International Financial Accounting Standards. And here the global baseline is being defined for sustainability reporting. China is one of the applicants, and there is also an office of ISSB here, which I'm very happy to recommend to talk to. Already about 40% of market capitalization in the world has been subscribing to ISSB standards, and there is more to come. So in future, with the taxonomy and the sustainability reporting standards, we talk the same language. This is important. And let me mention at the third point, and the fourth point is ETS. That's the emission trading system. As you probably recall, in COP29, there was a decision made and a signature put under a treaty that basically says that we need to connect national ETSs together to really create a global market. And again, Frankfurt is leading in ETS, and we've had already a dynamic pricing system for carbon, which started at €25, which is about close to $30, and it's been increasing. Next year it's going to be 65, which is about $75 per unit, and that is that shows and ties in global markets and applies market mechanisms for carbon allocation. And as both our economies, the Chinese as well as the German economy, needs to undergo transformation, so this is a very, very good instrument to really allocate financing towards those that are the most successful in transforming.
Yes, and carbon pricing system is also a very hot topic in recent years. So what's unique about Frankfurt's dynamic carbon pricing system?
Actually, it's the clear pricing setting mechanism. So people know exactly what to do in future. And they have a solid calculation basis. If you make a major investment decision, you want to know what your path is, what's going to happen in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years, in 6 years.
Yes.
And partially it's being already known because it's set, and secondly, the market has evolved also to instruments which are so-called CCFDs, which are carbon credit for difference, where you can lock in carbon prices in future and make even for long-term projects, give a good basis for calculation of your investment decision to reduce carbon.
Yeah, it also kind of set a commonly known standard for each side to cooperate. And also in this regard, what kind of good opportunities do you guys foresee for cooperation between China and Frankfurt and also Casablanca in green finance?
Go ahead, Albertus. Well, please, thank you. I see that the opening of China is a great strategic move that we can all leverage on and create win-win partnerships. I see at least 3 dimensions where the cooperation with Morocco can be broadened and deepened. One of them being green and sustainable finance. As you know, Morocco is one of the leading economies when it comes to the NDC's engagement that have been renewed now as part of this Paris Agreement cycle, with a strong commitment from the Moroccan authorities to cut the emission by half. So getting capital, getting technology from China is so instrumental. China being, for example, one of the leading emitters and issuers of green bonds in the region. On the other hand, this is dovetailing nicely with the engagement of Morocco, be it in energy efficiency, renewable energy, in wind and solar, for instance. So these are very important and transformational synergies that can be established. On the topic of carbon market, indeed, there is a strong interest from as well Casablanca Finance City to position itself. It comes from the fact that if you think about it, Africa is a natural carbon sink. And we have to put in place the conducive environment. We have to make sure that the integrity of carbon credits is addressed, that there is, as mentioned by Hubertus, a common taxonomy, understanding the common language to be able to decode and decrypt all these carbon credits and avoid greenwashing risks and reputational risks. So obviously what we're trying to do in Casablanca Finance City is to build an ecosystem around this carbon vertical, bringing together project developers, financial institutions, all these VVBs, verifying bodies, etc., auditors, standards. And this is something that we would love to do, as mentioned by Hubertus, in the compliance markets and learn from the cap and trade ETS systems that do exist in Europe, that exist as well in China, but also on the VCM, the voluntary carbon markets. And keeping in mind as well all these trends toward convergence that are existing since COP29 with this Article 6.4 on the Paris Agreement, which are here to make sure that there is a solid common ground for cooperation, for interoperability between these markets. And the broader picture is to make sure that we are addressing both the science-based but also the nature-based project when it comes to the life cycle, especially the ones that are having strong co-benefits for the local communities. Another field of cooperation is around innovation and fintech. I had the pleasure to address a keynote earlier this morning on the upside of financial innovation and fintechs and what it can bring to the continent when it comes to financial inclusion, financial literacy, offering access to the unbanked or underbanked meaning SMEs, informal economy, rural population, women, youngsters. And obviously here tech can be an enabler, powered by AI, by blockchain, by cloud computing, or whatever. We have the opportunity to bring to the table, to the discussion, an additional layer of offerings at the best cost, easing some of the pain points, and also, on the other hand, create jobs for young African entrepreneurs and connect them to the world market and also to the financial markets for potential fundraising, for listings, cross-listings. Sky is the limit. So in a nutshell, I believe that strong synergies can be established among ourselves, China, Frankfurt, and Casablanca.
Yes, you can see a lot of cooperation going on between for like China-Africa cooperation. And also as China is, and also other Asian markets are also doing the transition to green finance, how can Frankfurt help build a stronger partnerships between like European and Asian markets?
Yeah. Well, the aspects I mentioned earlier, like taxonomy and reporting standards, there clearly is. And the next step also mentioned is the linking up of the ETS markets. Yes. And let me add to that probably one more dimension. When you say Asian market, it's more or less historically where our interests of China and Germany meet is Central Asia. Along the Silk Road and the Belt and Road Initiative, clearly addresses some of the renewable transformation aspects of Central Asia. So I've been recently in that part of the world, and we see that our mutual interest there aligns very closely to help financing transformation, because they have a fantastic situation for wind energy, for solar energy, huge steps, extremely low production costs, and then we need basically to transport the energy to our market. So a big infrastructure investment is being made. And as your government had the foresight to set up the Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank, particularly with investing in infrastructure along the Belt and Road, this is something where we closely tie in already, and where we are in close discussions on how we could do more. The EBRD, the European Bank for Development, is already a big investor in the area, so is the AIIB, and we can align way more in helping this very, very important part of Asia to transform. It's still lacking. It's basically, it's been part of the Soviet Union in the past, and after that it took a while until it really connected well with the global market. But what we see now is a big shift, a big move of that part of the world to really connect into our trading networks, which I think is a huge common ground to elaborate together.
Yes, definitely. The Belt and Road Initiative has promoted many infrastructure projects and also green finance. And Casablanca is also under China's Belt and Road Initiative. So how do you see Casablanca's role as to boost more cooperation between China and maybe like other emerging economies?
Indeed. I mean, the key word in your statement is to boost. There is already common ground. There are trade relations, investment relations, foreign direct investments coming from China to Morocco. Our ambitions, and we are glad to have signed yesterday a memorandum of understanding with Beijing Financial Services Bureau, and it serves exactly this shared ambition to deepen, to strengthen, and to diversify the areas of collaboration. This is, of course, I mean, to build on our previous discussion, addressing green finance, sustainable finance, carbon markets, fintech innovation, etc., plus other things such as trade finance, such as cross-border investment, and so on. But our ambition as well is to replicate some of the key ingredients and successful ones that we did, for example, with Frankfurt. We have as well a memorandum of understanding, a strong partnership since, if I'm not mistaken, 2018. And one of the key highlights of this partnership is our ability to build strong connection between the two business ecosystems. Yes. And this is something that we would like to replicate. For example, we had in 2023 a delegation, a high-level delegation, business delegation coming from Frankfurt to visit us in Casablanca. It was the opportunity to discuss Casablanca as a gateway to Africa for German and European companies, and vice versa, as mentioned by Hubertus, Frankfurt as a gateway to mainland Europe. We had as well a discussion on a team regarding developing and financing green hydrogen projects, which is a topic that is so important. Well, we would like to adjust it and replicate this winning formula with our partners in Beijing, bring Chinese delegation to Morocco so that they can experience firsthand doing business in Africa, and also the tremendous opportunities that can be offered to them, and vice versa, bring Moroccan and African key stakeholders in our industry to Beijing, to China more globally, to explore the region and all the cross-fertilization that can be established. So sky is the limit. We are very optimistic and look forward to developing such collaborations. Of course, there are other things that we can as well mention, areas such as capacity building in the financial industry, exchange of academic program, thought leadership, research, etc. So a lot of very promising initiatives to be conducted with our counterpart from China and Beijing more particularly.
Yes, very looking forward to more cooperation going on. And also, Hubertus, I heard that you talked about like you've been to Casablanca several times too, right?
Yes.
Also to attend like activities like this. So what kinds of like activities or forums would you guys look forward to in like maybe this year or next year for further boosting cooperation among those international financial centers?
So what we are both at, we are both in the World Association of International Financial Center.
Yes.
And it happens to be that Murad's colleague, Lamia, is the chair.
Yeah.
I happen to be the vice chair.
Right?
So we have a very natural alignment in that. And,
yes.
To give you an example, we had just a few weeks ago, during the Cybos in Frankfurt, the AGM, where we had well over 20 financial centers coming to Frankfurt and learning it firsthand. Amongst them was also Hong Kong. I missed Beijing.
Oh.
I would have wished to have also Beijing being part of it. The next occasions will be, early on this year, I attended the forum in Shanghai. Which traditionally we have also very close relationships with Shanghai.
Yes.
So we are in a good exchange and regularly partner on that forum. And vice versa, we have what is called the Eurofinance Week every November. So when I return back a few days later, it starts, and this Eurofinance Week has every year one day solely dedicated to China. So that's why you see the importance and the relevance which we give to China as a partner in our cooperation. It's usually very well visited and something to really look forward to.
Yeah, and I'm so happy to see you guys gathered here for this major event and have some like ideas and also for further future cooperation. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this very insightful conversation. And it's clear that innovation and collaboration are key to building a more connected global economy, and looking forward to more cooperation among all these international financial centers. And hope you guys can join us for next year's Financial Street Forum here in Beijing too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'd love to. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to that. Thank you guys so much, and bye for now.